Which way are you thinking here?
I feel like it favors the team that knows how to adapt better.
Okay.
There are times where you have players on your team that know how to break it down, know how to study their team, start to notice little tendencies that they do. And so the team that's, I would say, a bit more strategic can generally favor in those matchups. But it's really tough to say. I mean, with these both rosters having a little bit of a shakeup within their rosters, G2 coming out and, you know, kind of proving all the casters wrong. I remember seeing Gilkey tweet at us all yesterday, and he's just like, ZZZ, yeah, hitting us with a ZZZ emoji, and it's like, yeah, basically like saying, hey, not a single caster out there called this pool right. We are the rightful dominators in this pool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they did lose to Pioneer, so G2 did show that they are still human. They're still to build on, but they look great at moments, right? Barcode looked like an excellent addition to this roster. The series layout, you got Livefire, King of the Hill to kick it off, Dave, and you got the S7 featured here. If we've learned anything about some of the members over on G2 is that they can put that S7 to work. On the side of G1, I mean, you got Swish, who's been popping off. You got bubu dubu. He's a highlight reel waiting to happen, so very excited to get this one underway. Livefire, King of the Hill, like I said, Dave, and this being one of the newer map mode combos, maybe these two teams, although they have so much experience against each other, maybe not as much experience in this mode, so maybe some new jabs able to be thrown here early on. We're going to hop on board with Barcode to kick this one off.
And look at this push here from G2, meeting no resistance over on the overshield side of the map, going over through plasmas, able to go through key door, and set up for this upcoming overshield. And there's bubu just being a nuisance at the top tower, but he can only do so much. He needs a little more backup if they're going to put any sort of stop to the OS.
Interesting starting strat for both teams. Look at this, like you're pointing out, Dave. G1 opts to get the early hill time. G2 opts to set up for overshield. We'll see which is the benefactor here, is that overshield is going to be needed in order to break this setup. It is going to be Sab on screen with the S7 in his hands. He's going to try and be aggressive. He gets repulsed off the map as we switch screens. Barcode has the overshield, but nowhere near the hill. And if you take a look at the hill time, Dave, it's already over halfway.
Yeah, that turned out to be a much better trade in the favor of G1. I mean, they're about even in slaves across the board, but when you look at that hill, it tells a different story. G1 just run away with this hill to start off the game.
G2 do currently have control. They do have an opportunity to get back into this one. This point, not over yet. Starting to build up some time. A couple of slays going their way would be massive. Can G1 break this setup is the question. bubu dubu has a lot of pressure on him under tower. He gets taken down, and that's the first pick, and usually the first pick is big, but they get traded back. So G1's going to have an opportunity to break this setup here and now.
Also, look at that great synergy between Barcode and Sab, understanding how they play and how they're a cohesive unit between Nest and that top tower. The moment that Sab got some pressure, Barcode laid down some shots. The moment the Sab went down, Barcode he got evicted from Nest. He ran away. He realized that that's a two-unit setup.
Yeah.
You can't hold that Nest unless you have that tower help.
Yeah, we don't have the reinforcements in order to really hold it, but on the meantime, look at this. Straight sick with a triple on screen. Still some pressure around him. Gonna need an overkill in order to secure this point for his team. Unfortunately, he gets repulsed back, but bubu dubu still gets taken down. Straight Sick has now killed all 4 players, and as this hill approaches the end for both of these teams, this first point would be massive. That overshield, it's already come up. It's in the hands of Gilk, and the second overshield of the game has rewarded Gilk this double. It's allowed him to retake this hill, but still work to do is G1 still in the hill, being a nuisance, trading out efficiently. Back and forth these two teams go.
Yeah, and it's been so back and forth. I mean, we saw both teams get those longer stretches or those longer runs to get those hills really close early on, but now it's just a scramble. Both these teams trying to kill back and forth and jumping in the hill.
Yeah, Straight Sick kind of in no man's land right now. Needs to be able to impact the final moments of this hill because G1, they were in it momentarily. Kills going in G2's favor. However, great shots on the bubu dubu. Even better shots from bubu dubu, but in the meantime, that was a momentary all 4 dead. And look at this. Although G1 are so close to hill 1, Dave, they're going to have to break this setup in just a few seconds in order for G2 to not cap it. But G2 are there. They get the point, and not only that, but Gilkey is in a perfect rotation to the next.
And here's where that mistake may have came in from G1. They were just so close. They were tasting a chance to get in that hill, and because of it, they desperately pushed out to try to stop the green first hill, and they no longer have control. That could have been a situation where G1 says, all right, slow down for a second, push across top, let's go get tower, let's, give up this one cap and go for the next hill.
And if that first hill doesn't tell you how close this series is going to be, Dave. I mean, every time these guys match up, I feel like we see absolute banger of games. Can't wait for this one to continue to go underway. It is going to be G2 with the early setup over towards the tower. G1 trying to break it. Squallaye, he's been one of the players that has impressed me most on this roster. He's been popping off in some of their online qualifiers to get here, but this overshield battle, it's underway, and G2 are set up for it.
More than underway. In the previous hill, we saw how G1 was willing to give up that overshield to get time. Not when it's that close, not when it's over near the tower. They just completely dive out of the hill, push over towards us.
Love that.
Secure it, and now Bubu is safely in the hill, but he has a little pressure behind him in the tower, but there's no rush. He has a teammate that can help him out, and he can just scrap up this time.
It took 2 overshields for G2 to get that first point secured in their favor. G1 get their first overshield of the game. Can they allow this point to go in their favor to tie this one up? They still have to deal with Sab, who's back tower, and Bubu Dubu says right on cue, I'll take him out. That's going to create a numbers advantage, and if they can sniff out this player that's about to fight back mud, it would be massive. Good shots from Gilt to take Bubu Dubu down in the meantime.
Yeah, Bubu did 2 great plays there, 2 great decisions during that whole engagement. The first one was charging closer to Gilkey and closing that distance. He didn't want to just trade shots and sit in the hill and let Gilkey just get his shields back.
Yeah.
He closed that distance, secured that kill real quick, and got a number advantage from G1. And the second part was just sitting back and giving a support angle to pick off that player on the tower.
Yeah, Bubu Dubu, one of the players to watch. Speaking of players to watch, Swish 5, if you don't know much about him, he's a household name in my books. The guy has been slaying like a monster since Infinite came out. This roster has allowed him to kind of start reaching that peak. And as I say that, the first point for G1 to tie this one up, it goes through the rotations into the base, or where Swish lies now, and this heat wave is starting to melt. The 2-tap on the Sab is a good opening pick. He gets traded out, and the straight stick picks up this heat wave. He's going to have a lot of pressure in front of him.
Yeah, it was a great entry kill by Sab. We're going to have to see, or great entry kill on Sab. We're going to have to see if G1 can take advantage of that, pushing on through. Basically, when you're the flanker in a certain situation like that, where you had heat wave, you have to wait for another distraction. That's exactly what he waited for. He waited till someone's in hill, waited till other shots were across the map, and then push through and cause that additional disruption.
Look at this, G2 set up for this overshield. Swish tries to deny it from Gilkey. I believe Gilkey's not able to activate it, but a teammate should be there. Actually, no, the teammate gets killed, and because of it, somehow, some way, Bubu Dubu has made his way to this overshield, and if we've learned anything how overshields have transitioned into hill points, Dave, this is going to benefit G1's opportunity here in this third point. But in the meantime, it is going to be G2 that get the advantage of the slays. Bubu Dubu forced to run with his tail between his legs, bottom middle, and a little bit of significant time in G2's favor for this third point.
But I love that reposition for Bubu to get up high. He knows he had 2 teammates over on elbow. They don't go together, you get a different angle, and that's what's going to happen. That's going to be all 4 down for G2, and G1 have control of this hill. Let's see if they can close that gap.
What a whip from Bubu Dubu. The heat wave in hand now, taking Sab down as they start to crawl back in this one. What a shot from Bubu Dubu. The hills neutralizes the one player. Squallaye, he gets taken down. It's a 3v3 situation. Bubu Dubu looking for another one. Can't quite hit straight stick on the first, but the second is good to go. The killing spree for Bubu Dubu. As trades coming through into the house are gonna benefit Barcode, the young gun from Australia. Welcome to the US. You know he wants to make a statement here in this tournament, but as I say that, he's taken down. He's gonna have to do that off respawn, and Squallaye is gonna control this window, and this is one of the most crucial positions to stay alive in, Dave, because if you're alive here, you can almost guarantee the points going in your favor.
Yep, and just like that, Sab and crew trying to get him out, but too little too late as the second hill goes in favor of G1. New overshield coming up, so you know all the players on the map are going to be focused on this area in the next 10 seconds.
And it's a quick rotation, too. That's the best part about that. Third hill to the fourth hill, right? And in the kill feed, you saw PreDevoNatoR with the snipe. G1 doing such a good job to control that S7 so far in the second half of this game. Because of it, they've just gotten so much damage output with that advantage. Trying to compete for this overshield, trying to stay alive for this early time. Can Devin get it? He tries to grab it, gets taken down as 3 members go down for G1. Straight 6 picks up that overshield, and G2, once again with overshield control, look to gain a significant advantage here in Hill 4.
One thing that I'm seeing is a lot of these times, multiple members of G1 are getting picked off at the same time. And that might seem like a bad thing because you're like, oh, you don't want multiple people going down. But to me, what it says is they're all pushing together.
Play together.
Yeah, they're playing together. They're not just having one person get picked off on their own and then fighting the 3v4. Instead, they're saying, we're doing a concentrated push while we're all alive. And because of it, there goes 3 down for G2 for just a moment in time. They're going to get a bit more time on this hill. And this one's just neck and neck, Clutch.
Yeah, no man left behind, no man dies alone. You go down, I'm going to go down with you, they say. And the Wolfpack mentality is a dangerous one to combat against in Infinite. 3 go down on the side of G1. Bubu, the last player alive on the map, and he's in the hill. He's going to secure this 3rd point, surely, for G1. That's going to do it. And now all of a sudden, what was once a 1-0 lead for G2 Esports, now flipped on its head. G1 take the next 3, make this a very difficult situation as we have under 2 minutes to play.
Yeah, G2 need to capture 2 hills, get back in this. And I was about to ask you, Clutch, if you're in the situation as G1, do you slay out, or do you feel like at this point continue what you've been doing and put time on the board?
Yeah, now I don't start thinking about time just yet, but I do think that every second that is not G2's favor is another point, it's another win condition in our direction, right? I don't necessarily want to start weaning my entire game plan towards that, but the hill being neutralized, maybe not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You're basically saying they're not gonna totally go up the hill and keep it neutral and just slay out this entire game. But at the same time, that's just naturally going to happen.
If I can kill the hill guy and trade, then I'll do it.
Yep. Makes total sense.
Absolutely. Gilkey forced to get into this hill to deny clock from ticking off. Not only that, but needs some points, but also needs this overshield. Knows that, so he's going to relocate. Taking Dev down. That's a big kill from Gilkey. Right on time to get this overshield. Now he's got to get back to that hill because TikTok does the clock, Dave. Under 1:40. The killing spree for Gilkey's great, but you need hill points now.
They need that time. One thing that was also impressive with Gilkey after he got the overshield is he knew he had such a big advantage against Squallaye in that fight over at the plasmas. He threw that plasma at the far back, basically removing that escape route.
Right.
There's no way that Squallaye could get out of that, so it wasn't like he was going to throw it right behind the pillar, and Squallaye forced to run out and challenge, had no run to towards top center. Absolutely.
Beautiful just execution from Gilk to secure that kill. Ever since then, it has been some significant time for G2 on this second hill, but for now it's neutralized. And Dave, now the clock is when you start to look at it. There's 1:15 on the clock, and you're saying, hey, the hill's great. That's a great thing for us to see. Win conditions aplenty for the side of G1. You just want to get through with this game. And right now, G2 know that they have to figure out a way to get into this hill, score this point quickly, and get this off this top mid hill, because this top mid hill is the most difficult one to capture.
Great position by Bubu, realizing that he can be such a threat up here and just denying hill time and just getting out slayed. Now I think that a minute has elapsed. I feel like it's slay time for G1.
Yeah.
At this point, if you can waste another 20 or so points or seconds on this hill, and then go into that final hill and just wait the timeout.
The issue is when it moves to green, that is a hill that you can hold the entire time without having your setup broken. It's very difficult, obviously, against some of the pressure that you're going to receive, but it is one of the easier hills. That hill does get achieved by G2. There is 54 seconds on the clock. It will start to tick, but G2 have hope. There is a chance they can tie this one up.
And overshield's coming up soon. G2 are going to find themselves in a difficult position saying, all right, do we go for our full setup minus OS on this, or do they do they go for the full setup, or do they go for OS? And it looks like they're opting to kind of do a little both. Straight Sick challenging over here at OS. Gonna potentially get picked off. That's Gilkey getting taken out. That's Straight Sick getting taken out. And now there's an overshielded PreDevoNatoR heading on over towards green, and they're gonna clear out these members. Now the question, like you said, Clutch, is do they step in the hill, or do they try to wait out 40 seconds? And it looks like they opt to start capping. I don't think there's really a wrong decision here.
No, I think you opt to start capping. I think this hill is too dangerous. You just want to take the time that you can. Hills get captured so quickly in Infinite, I feel, that if you have control of this area, you want that hill under your control. Although they opt to get out of it, as Squallaye does, go to the back of green, under 30 seconds left, so now clock's starting to play in your favor even more. G2 going to be forced to desperate themselves into the hill, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to neutralize the hill here. Squallaye on defense mode here. Let's see what he can do. He's got both power weapons to play around, and he's got a lot of responsibility to try and end this one in G1's favor.
Yeah, G2 need to step inside this hill for the next 4 seconds and stay inside it, and that's going to be a tall order. Here comes the Slays. That's going to be Barcode, the last member alive in the hill. That's going to be G2 recapping, stepping out, and trying to waste these last 2 seconds. That's going to be game number 1, going in favor of G1.
Beautifully done by G1 there. Execution on the time. You played it perfectly. You reward yourself with the 1-0 lead here in the G Derby, and so often do these series go the distance, and how crucial is it for G1 to jump out on top here, coming second out of their pool. You know, they view themselves maybe as the underdog, as G2 was advanced first in their pool, but this is a new day, Dave, and on a new day, Squallaye looks to take advantage.
Yeah, looking real strong, putting up the biggest KDA with a 28, 19, and 14 performance. Now, when we get a chance, we'll take a look over at the damage done in a moment and try to see who's really putting up those numbers, because I saw a lot of active players across the map.
And although we saw highlights from Barcode yesterday, big question marks coming. How quickly can he actually adapt to some of the best teams in the world, right? Coming over from Australia, you know he's got a lot of individual skill. He plays at a very fast pace. But it's not going to be instantaneous that he's able to just find his footing in some of the best teams in the world, especially North American rosters. Games, right? And he seems to have had a tough game one here. We'll see how he's able to rebound in this series.
He needs to rebound. A third team's going to take this, but not too bad of a showing, seeing how only Gilkey went positive there from G2 as far as kills versus deaths going. Now we're going to flip on over towards the damage and see what was done here. Gilkey with 7,500 damage, most in the entire match.
Gilk Duds can put down some damage. Let me tell you, one of the best shots in the league.
Most damage dealt, most damage taken. I think that's the, a common stat we've been seeing from people who've been stars on their team as of late. We see it from Lucid fairly consistently.
Renegade.
We just saw it from Guilt this last game. Renegade, very notorious for those stats.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what that shows you is an infinite. You want to play aggressive. You want to be dealing damage at all times, but if you're doing that, you probably have a lot of focus on you. You probably are receiving a lot of damage. If you're able to stay alive, you're able to create openings and plays for your team, space for your team to have success. Gilkey, notorious for not missing shots. Speaking of not missing, that highlight of bubu dubu. Beautiful. That flick with the snipe. It's not an easy one, but bubu dubu shows you that, hey, I might not be a main slayer per se, but I can hit some incredible shots, and I love that. He has that in his bag of tricks, but back and forth these two teams went, and it honestly went as Overshield did a lot of the times, Dave, throughout that game one. Power-up control was pivotal in some of those hills. And G1, although they didn't focus and prioritize that at the start of the game, in Hills 2, 3, and 4, they dominated the story of the Overshield, and because of it, I feel like it just gave them so much opportunity.
Yeah, they did such a good job getting that Overshield later on. But yeah, it was interesting seeing those differences in strategies early on, saying, all right, do you go for the early step or do you go for those power-ups? And it's hard to say which one works because it seemed like both worked. It seemed like G2 had the right response later on.
I'm a big fan of the early hill time because you almost guarantee yourself about half of that first hill at the very least. And it's like, if they don't put this Overshield to work, then it's almost they wasted that first point, right? They ended up using the Overshield, G2 did, to a successful strategy to break the setup, but there's so often a brew grenade stick or a plasma pistol here, and all of a sudden what you just waited 30 seconds for is negated completely, right?
Yeah, that's such a bad feeling when you wait so long for a setup error and a push and it just gets shut down right away and you're like, well, we're not going to wait that long again.
Yeah, it's tough. I like G1 having the strategical advantage there early on, but as we go into Recharge Slayer, a game type that can be played so many different ways, preferences are aplenty here. Who are you favoring? Who are you looking at to rebound potentially or to pop off? You got the shock rifle, you got the camo. bubu dubu's notoriously made plays with camo in his career. Is that somewhere you're leaning towards?
I mean, everyone at this high level of play makes good plays with the shock rifle. However, some people stand out in my eyes, and one of those players is Gilkey. He's already putting up most damage taken during last game. I expect and hope for G2 to get that shock rifle in his hands and let him go to work.
This G2 roster was very impressive on Recharge yesterday. Barcode with the commando popping off. You know what Gilk Duds is capable of when he gets a snipe in his hand. Straight sick. One of the most notorious snipers in the past decade of Halo. And I mean, everybody can pop off. I love this Swish guy on G1. I can't talk enough about him, how G1 has basically built this team. He is a main slayer for this team. Would it surprise me at all if he ends up getting that shock in his hands, ends up popping off? We'll find out here in just a couple of moments, but I can almost guarantee that whoever does control the shock rifle, whoever does control the camo, you will see momentum and the score line sway into that team's favor ever so likely. So it's a story of control for me that G2 need to capitalize on, need to redirect. They did a good job at the start of game one, but game two, or towards the end, it kind of felt a little short, a little flat, a little slow to some of those power-ups, power weapons, and because of it, they fell short.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Did feel like G2 kind of came out ahead during the power weapon or power-up acquisitions early on, and then G1 was going forth with it from there on out. So we'll have to see if that changes here at all in game number 2. As you said, you're going to be keeping an eye on that camo, that sword, and that shock rifle.
I will say, as we look at the rest of the series layout, Dave, Oddball Streets, CTF Bazaar, 2 games that don't feature a snipe. So you get snipes aplenty here in the first 2 games of the series. We talk about some of the strengths, some of the players that are known for popping off with those snipes. If a team like G2 that has so many of those power weapon controls, if they fall short in games 1 and 2, what are their hopes going into 3 and 4?
I mean, getting down, we have seen the reverse sweeps, a couple of them in pool play, but regardless, we highlight those reverse sweeps because they're so rare.
Yeah.
It's just a situation you don't want to be in, because anytime a Slayer, a single game can just start to snowball out of control, and generally if a team is up 2-0, they're comfortable. They're playing their game. They're working together well, and they don't need to change much up. It's on the, the onus is on the team that's behind to really step it up and fix what was going wrong.
Look at the aggressive push from G1 so far. 3 dead for G2. And it's not often you see that heavy of a push bottom middle, but the respawner and Barcode. I mean,
such a weird angle. And first, a great heads-up play by Barcode to, charge down there. But for the most part, when you're charging down near Repulsor with camo, you're like, I'm getting away safe to sword. You don't expect to see someone.
Is what he's saying. Didn't I just kill you in Mangler Pit? Now all of a sudden you're spawning on my camo guy? Can't get away. A massive kill from Barcode nonetheless to deny camo from impacting the early game here. It's a 5-4 lead for G1, but it looked like it was going to be such a better situation for G1 to end up by.
And here we are. The game is finally slowing down. There's always that initial little exchange that you're seeing with, like you said, a potential fortunate spawn or some chaotic situations. But now the game's slowed down a little bit. We'll see how these teams handle it in the neutral game. And it looks like Sab had a nice flank, but the damage has been done to his teammates. All 3 of Sab's teammates went down as he gets that final kill on Squallaye.
Yeah, Sab's going to slow it down with the sword. He knows it. G1's going to have that shock rifle, going to have pipes control as well. Probably looking up here. But no, Dev, he's relocating towards the catwalk. Are they going to expect Barcode and Sab to be top BR and Sab to have sword? Because if PreDev gets aggressive, this could get ugly.
I can tell you right now, they're not expecting all those things, but you know that they hear the callouts over in control and they're flying.
Sword being put to work. Sab finds a double, and the push from G1 is a failed one as camo coming up in 15 seconds, Dave. It looks like G2 have control of the area of BR. They have shock and sword in hand. They should be able to secure this camo as well.
Yep, getting that camo, but it's only a 3-kill difference right now. We're going to have to see if that can close the gap, but look at this damage on Sab. 2 main members all around him. 2 go down for G2. That's going to be 3 down for a second, and this camo should be going in favor of G1.
Yeah, G1 is just so aggressive.
Overkill for bubu.
Oh my, in the kill feed. What a timed over to pick up camo potentially in what looked like such a promising opportunity for G2.
4 syllables in his name and 4 kills to his name in a matter of 4 seconds. Bubu dubu just doing it all.
Swish 5s. He's the benefactor of that play from bubu dubu. He finds himself this camo, spots a Gilkey, he's unaware. Opts to not shoot, interesting. Knows that he's probably by himself, and if he starts to reveal himself with a couple of shots, Gilkey's probably gonna get away. Does end up getting seen here as he tries to slow it down. And this camo, maybe not the most efficient camo, but better than a mistake potentially, but still tries to be aggressive bottom middle. He gets snipped out. Because of that, he gets taken down, and bubu dubu now trying to continue the role that he's been on so far in this game. But what a shot from Barcode. That shock rifle, we said it could be a difference maker. Barcode making a difference.
You were highlighting that he had a rough game in game number 1. Let's see if this Australian superstar can step it up here in the second game. We have a tie game. We have the shock rifle in his hands. There's no camo on the map, so right now, a lot of pressure on Barcode to make something happen.
There's a player in this trippy corner. I'm not sure if Barcode actually knows he's there. It doesn't matter, though. Bubu dubu pokes his head up for a second. He gets taken down. Sab steps right in front of him. Guardian. That was his life.
Yeah, that was so huge. The important play right there too is Sab just literally running right through his teammate saying, I don't care if I take a shot in the back from Barcode here. Most importantly, I need to absorb some damage so my teammate does not get the headshot and finished off. That is such a great team play.
Unbelievable. I want to hop into an Astra listening with G2 as they start to gain their lead here. Barcode's under pressure, but you have to believe the comms are looking clear.
And I want red stairs.
Watch the needle. Dead. Come on. I can play
red stairs with.
Red stairs in glass.
I'm getting hit. Yeah, Corey, that's yours. I'm getting your fucking seat.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I'm getting shot. I'm getting shot from that ledge.
I'm leaving 8. I just don't want to die.
Getting
I backed up.
repulse.
Yeah.
It could be 8.
Make some noise. We're gonna have to make some noise. Yeah.
All right, take it. Wait for him. Wait for Corey, guys.
All right, somebody help me make a play, bro.
All right, I'm gonna go long.
Let's go
I'm gonna
back.
All right, I'm going bottom mid right now. I can jump blue box or something.
Balance.
I can jump blue box with sword.
Okay.
All right, I'm going.
Yeah, this guy needles right now. He's hurt.
Hold on. I just choke my jump. I
can't look over you, Seb.
Red stairs.
Good kill.
One is red stairs right now with a shock. Hold on.
We gotta look over Corey, guys.
Oh shit, yeah. Is he one shot?
Bottom mid.
Is he one shot? He's one shot needles. Another one on needles.
One's at red. One could be long.
Yeah, hear that. Hey, it's up red.
I'm pushing
seeing
glass.
stacks.
We're up 3.
Yeah, we can chill. We can chill a bit. There's a guy in turbine right now.
I hear that. I'm in control.
Yo, sword is
don't
down
get
right
pushed.
there. No one grabbed it. If we could watch over that.
I hear that.
Yeah, there's a guy in turbine right now.
I hear turbine.
Turbine at top A and top A.
right as well.
Two top A.
Left
Two
side.
top A.
Chat, don't get too weak.
One's
You guys-
commando. They might try and push.
I'm sitting C
Turbine.
flat. I'm holding
I
the
know
bottom
that,
mid.
Chris.
I'm watching the bottom mid push. There's a guy put pipes.
They could try and push you
Devin's
guys
turbine.
left side.
Yeah,
I'm trying
could
to
get
watch.
pushed here.
No, I'm
Just a
watching.
stab,
He's red
just a-
stairs. 2 shot squall. Dead.
Top
Top
A
A as well.
Top
Get
table.
across.
I'm looking, Sam. I'm looking.
Top 8 cross weak, guys.
I can't look. I'm getting
Two
to
on
you,
Chris.
Chris.
There's 2. Nice. Get him up there. He has sniper. I'm right on him.
Dude, he's weak. He's bottom BR.
Bottom BR weak.
Bottom BR to
Devin.
C.
I'm living then.
Nice, Sam. Good
Trade.
trade. That's huge.
I'm hiding
That's huge.
orange door, dude. I'm hiding
Yeah,
orange
that's
door.
one day.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a guy bottom
On
BR
top,
right
guys.
now.
I can.
You guys might collapse
Chris,
on from.
I'm orange
I saw
door.
turbine.
Yeah, top
Get
turbine.
shots from me. I can make a play.
Dude, I got shocked and naded from.
Interesting choice of words from Barcode. A little bit different of a social acceptance of it down in the Austria. And they have some potty mouths down there. I think that's why they drink out of shoes. But something that did stick out to me, Dave, I do want to talk about is Barcode taking almost a leadership role. A lot of the shot calls, a lot of the I'm doing this. Barcode was doing a phenomenal job of communicating, and that's something that, as he transitions over to the North American scene, is going to benefit him greatly.
Yeah, mostly great comms, leading and letting teammates know where areas are covered. But then also a couple of times where he's basically clogging up the comms with non-useful info, just saying, I got naded in shots. Like, that doesn't matter right now. You don't, keep the important call-outs top of mind for your teammates and try to keep it more of a positive mindset. If you start to hear your teammates call out the times they're getting killed, it's like, all right, this thing's going good, or are they going bad? What's up here?
Yeah, it sounded like Gilkey was in another room, so maybe getting him in the same office as us would be a good idea if these guys are all at the same house. But that's a conversation for another time. I'll message Gilkey. It's probably better that you're not playing that far away from your teammates. But in the meantime, 35-36 is the closest it can be. G1, G2, the G Derby. This push, bubu flying in, picking up a couple of assists as he does so. I mean, just creating chaos in the meantime, just everything you want to see from bubu.
Yeah, those plays work out either well or terribly. I mean, sometimes you get right behind enemy lines, you're instantly melted, or they're just that massive distraction where they're, now you have that player who's over in BR or control room trying to say, all right, do I focus on you? Do I focus on the person that's going to come through next? So yeah, that was an example of it going well.
Interesting push, and bubu, it's not often you see someone being aggressive with the shock rifle. He's opting to play aggressive angles and looking to pounce. G1 playing so aggressive. 17 kills for bubu throughout this game, by the way. 17, 4, and 8, looking to add on to that with a 2-kill lead. Shock rifle in hand. Does get spotted out, so forced to back up. I love the relocation by him. Can he find another pick?
Yeah, they just need to relocate, see if they get that snipe. But yeah, it does feel like G1 throwing that go switch or something like that where everyone just goes flying. They understand now is the time. They either see some advantage that they got. Ooh, I like this play. He barely doesn't get it, falls down back into the pit. So we're going to have to see how they decide to acquire this camo because it's down on the ground near that box. And unless people are, oh, here comes the second one. You know what? Even with that slight miss, I wouldn't be surprised if G2 just assumed it was already acquired. And they wouldn't be doing like their Spartan scan and seeing that still on the ground.
100% they did, and that's a heads-up play by bubu to relocate, grapple it to him in a safe location. And now he's almost got a little bit of an extended camo play because G2 are going to think that it's already been activated, but with this play, he's going to be able to find Barcode. It's a killing spree now for bubu. Look at this play just wisely. Doesn't challenge Gilkey, doesn't overstep his boundaries, gets some good information, some good damage, allows his teammates to do the work, and that's bubu in that nutshell right there. Textbook camo plays that make a difference.
Great play, but also just shows how much trust he has in his team. Notice teammates are gelling well and playing well together. when they feel that they can back down and that they don't have to challenge to get a kill. Instead, they realize that work is going to be done if they stay alive and buy some time.
What a pickup for G1 this bubu kid is, right? How do you let this guy go into free agency? I have no idea. 19-6-9, looking to end this one. 48-44 now, G1. Need 2 kills to go. It's a 3-kill difference, though. Sap fighting for his tournament wipe back here. Stays alive, kills Swish, and somehow they don't get the kill onto Sab. What an incredible play by him to use that box to stay alive. Plays it perfectly, and now all of a sudden, this game is very winnable for G2.
Yeah, feeling comfortable for G1, but at the same time, I feel like G1's comfort level is when they're on the aggressive.
Yeah.
When they're up like this in this time, are they still going to be pushing and being aggressive, or are they going to stop it? Right here comes the 49th kill for G2. Now that we've seen G1 be a little more passive, you see G2 taking the reins and 1 kill away from tying up the series.
That's the second time we've seen G2 just phase through each other because there's no contact from the Spartans on the team, and because of it, they keep each other alive. That is unbelievable. 49-48 now. G2 need 1 kill to go. What was once a 48-46 game for G1's favor. Now starting to slip through their fingers. Who can find the pick? Swish trying to deny this kill from going through. He's no shield. He falls down, and now all of a sudden has Sab overstep. Sab's going to relocate. Squallaye gets a kill, but Sab gets an angle on the 3 players, tries to stay alive, is forced to back up. Bottom middle, not bubu on the prowl, tries to be aggressive. The kill comes through.
God.
Swish with the nade. 50-49, G1 get the job done. They take this series to a 2-0 lead.
That was unbelievable. They had it in the grasp of their hands. G2, 1 kill away. They read the situation perfectly over at Hydro. They knew they were stuck in that corner, even led that nade perfectly, and got almost even a little desperate to try to fish off that one-shot player.
Oh my God. You'd have to break down all 8 point of views and how well everyone did at staying alive in certain situations, whether it was Swish there at the end, top blue, he drops down, no shield. Sab tries to relocate, tries to get the advantage, spots 3 players, has to get out of dodge. So many players getting no shield, so many players staying alive, but eventually the nade from Swish, who stayed alive, no shield, back blue. As a player was jumping up on Mangler, he threw a plasma nade there, predicted that player was going to get taken down. And Dave, what do you see in the stats?
I mean, I'm seeing the stats right now. The bubu dubu show. Getting overkill that game, going 19, 11, and 7. The only member on his team going positive as far as KDs go.
They needed everyone.
So many kills. I mean, maybe he's dedicating 1 kill to each one of his siblings. If you don't know, Bubu Dubu has way too many brothers and sisters, so.
Is that the case? I've met his younger brother.
Dude,
which
like one? Is all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say is they run in-house big team battle matches.
What a clan. What a squad.
Bubu Dubu squad, but looking also not much of a surprise. Most damage dealt, most damage taken for his team.
So often.
Bubu Dubu, and then taking a look on the other side. I mean, I was calling out Gilkey, saying I expected him to potentially step it up for his roster. I didn't really see him get a chance to get the shock rifle in his hands. Gilkey played well, but in the end, not laying as much damage as potentially as good.
And something we talked about going into game 2 was the camo control, the shock rifle control. How is it going to impact the differences in this game? And as we take a look at the highlights, you can talk about a couple of different camos we saw. Bubu Dubu with the camo on C stairs, the play he was able to make, that was incredible. The camo that we saw Straight Stick have, a little less incredible.
Yeah, it feels like in general we have seen some good camo plays, but more often than not we're seeing it being shot down by these teams. Teams just knowing how to counter it so well, or just having such strong of awareness, realizing that, all right, camo's gonna come from one of these angles, we can see it right here, and camos aren't, you know, we're not in the infancy of Halo Infinite anymore. You're not finding these small little gaps so you can slip by and get a back smack.
Yeah, but still, Bubu Dubu found some opportunity, found some openings with the camo he was able to pick up. And it's no surprise, Bubu Dubu with the camo and another highlight play. But I mean, as we get closer to the end here, 49-49, Sab running away, no shield. Bubu Dubu on the prowl, hunting him down. But it's a nade that comes in from control.
Also just a great call out too there. You see,
Mangler pit.
Realizing that Mangler pit box or whatever that is, there are so many times that these teams and players will come out with a specific call out for a very specific corner for that instance. It's because players consistently go there and they're getting away one shot. And so Squall, not even seeing that person in that spot, realizes, all right, I'll throw a grenade here then. My teammate already has Mangler Pit watch.
Yeah.
This grenade's going to kill any person that's near this box.
It was Swish throwing the nade, but it was bubu dubu giving him the information because he was being aggressive bottom middle, right? He knows exactly where that player just ran no shield. Swish is doing the math in his head like, hey, if bubu dubu's not able to see that player, he has to be in this corner jumping up to BR. And because of it, G1's communication get the job done. It makes just the difference they need to take the 2-0 lead, 50-49.
And these games don't get much closer than that. We have G1 with a 2-0 lead against G2 going here into G number 3. Oddball on the streets. We're going to have to see if G2 can pull off a reverse sweep, or is this just going to be the end of them?
I mean, with how close these games have been, we could see another reverse sweep here today. We could see a 3-0, but the strategy on Streets Oddball, it's a tough one. It's gonna force execution, and with both these two teams, I would say G1 having a lot more practice under their belt with this roster. Although they did make a roster change in between Kansas City and now, it has been some time. They have been putting in so much practice. G2 Esports with Barcode, still fairly new. We're gonna see if they are able to implement some strategies on setup breaks, setup holds, on Streets Oddball here coming up. And if they're able to do so, they can push this to a Bazaar CTF where their gunnies can show the BRs of Straight Sick of Gilkey can make differences on a map like Bazaar CTF, much more so than a map like Recharge where you're kind of playing cat and mouse games. You're allowed to play rotations a little bit differently. Take a deep breath, Dave, because I can almost guarantee
we're in for a long one, maybe.
This game 3 is going to be wild. So far throughout this series, it's been absolutely crazy. As these players need to breath themselves, it sounds like they're going to have to regroup. And I think if you're G2, if you're down 2-0, Dave, what are you telling yourselves? Because there's not a lot of... When we went to a listen-in, I guess, it was Barcode that was almost doing a majority of the conversation there. Who on this team are you looking at to step up and kind of give that down 0-2 speech that, hey, we're still in this, it's not over yet?
I mean, it's got to be, you know, from that roster, I was going to say DeVoNatoR probably has the most tournament experience of everyone, but I also view him as more of kind of this quiet, sorry, I'm talking about G1 there.
Yeah.
I was going to say Gilkey by far has the most tournament experience then out of that G2 roster, but he's also kind of like that silent like Slayer, like from my outside perspective, never having teamed with Gilkey.
Not an IGL.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like he just hasn't been an IGL in the past, even though he's, you know, led in stats and done so many great things.
Oh yeah, he's phenomenal in game.
I think you got to look to someone who's been in the tournaments more, and in that case, even if you're not like the IGL, at some point you have to say, all right, what's our small tweaks here? What do we do in this situation? You know, Gilkey has been in reverse sweeps before. He has been there, done that. But right now, G2 really has to understand that they're so close. It's minor tweaks at this point. They don't need to change everything up. They lost a 50-49 game. They barely lost King of the Hill on live fire. Like, it is such a close series that it's just gonna be those minute differences.
Yeah, I think it'll have to come on the back of some power weapon, like refocus, right? And I hate to be redundant in that manner, but camo going in the hands of bubu dubu, things that you cannot let happen if you want to have success, if you want to win games, especially against this G1 roster. Rockets and Bulldog are typically the name of the game here on Streets, and if you're not getting Rockets, it's typically bad news bears because those are some easy kills, and the first pick is always so crucial on a map like Streets because the map is small, and when you get that first pick, you can almost guarantee the team is going to fly.
Yeah, and what I've been noticing at least these first couple rounds, or first couple games, is that it feels like G2 kind of goes almost directly for that power-up or focus on that power-up. Either they're passive and watching it, whereas it feels like G1 take a step or two forward. Instead, what I would expect here to happen on Oddball Streets for that initial Rockets is I wouldn't be surprised to see G1 get behind enemy lines and go for a Slayer 2 and then go back and grab that power weapon, where I could see G2 maybe be a little passive at the start, saying, all right, do we chill over at balcony or do we just watch this over here from the courtyard?
Yeah, I feel like they're almost a little bit too predictive in how they're going for some of these power-ups, power weapons throughout the series. Can they change it up? Do they have something in their bag of tricks in order to maybe counter what G1 is going to throw at them? Because G1 are doing things a little bit unorthodox. And that's a testament to G1 kind of creating meta and opening strategies that have given them opportunities at some of the start of these games. I think when you look at live fire King of the Hill, the fact that they said, we don't care about the overshoot, we're going to go straight for the hill. The fact that at the start of game 2, They sent so many players bottom middle that it almost threw G2 off. We'll see how game 3 starts off, and I worry for G2. If they don't get off to a hot start here, how will this game go? Because this is one of those game modes that really does test a team strategy and objective play.
Yep, and let's see if it plays out the way we potentially expect. I expect G1 to go crashing through the 50-yard line, trying to get a better angle on those rockets. Here we go. Got Squallaye going over towards Oddball spawn. We got Bubu going to make his way over towards B side. And here's the 1v1 fight, him versus Sab. You can't get a more even fight than this, and it's going to be Bubu coming out ahead.
Good shots with the thrust. You got to think he wins that one, but in the meantime, 4 dead for G1, G2 having the best start so far here in the series here in game 3, and what a better time to do it. They get the Oddball back tower, they get rockets in hand, and with 2 rockets in the chamber still to play around, Dave, you can hold this setup for a good time.
And look at that play by Gilkey, seeing nobody by the C stairs or over in that courtyard and realizing they're all coming B Street. Watch yourselves over there. And this is also an interesting play right now. Pushing on up and trying to either block those spawns near tram or towards the stairs. I don't know what the additional pressure there is for, because I almost feel like you'd rather them spawn inside tram instead of over towards B.
You're denying space is what he's doing. He's staggering the respawns as well. When he kills bubu, that's 10 more seconds G1 have to wait in order to try and have a successful push here. They get another kill on the Squallaye. bubu goes down again, and look at this, 33 seconds and counting this time, starting to add up in G2's favor.
The match is not over yet, but G1 is going out for donuts at this moment. These players are getting shut out. bubu, the only one with a kill by isolating a single 1v1 against Sab. The rest of this time, it's been 2v1s, 3v1s. Gilkey on a 7-0 streak right here.
Yeah, Gilkey starting to take over. You know he's capable of it. We've seen it in the past. When he starts to heat up, he's a dangerous slayer to play around. Using this drop wall perfectly to try and deny space on the cafe side of the map, but eventually bubu's going to chew through it. The first kill on a Barcode's a big one. Gilkey gets taken down as well. This is the setup getting broken, and just in time for rockets to spawn as well. So G1 are going to have an opportunity to pick up these rockets and a tower set up, but they have 64 points to make up.
Yep, we get to see the reverse scenario now. G2, they had rockets in a full setup. They got 64 points. What is G1 going to do in the exact same setup? Because if they don't answer with around 50 or 60 points of their own, they're in some trouble.
Yeah, can you match it is the question. We'll find out here. Straight stick, he's the first one down, so the pick comes through. Barcode, he's forced back. That would be a nice kill to pick up if you're G1, but you don't want to overextend. Swish is able to finish off Barcode from a nice angle. Another kill onto Sab is big. And now with rockets and Bulldog in hand, I love the aggressive play from bubu once again.
Yeah, and look at this slight difference in strategy between these two teams.
Yep.
When G2 had this up, they brought the ball near tower, even when they were getting some pressure near B side. Whereas G1, when they have the ball and there's pressure near B side, they're pushing over towards cafe, saying, all right, we can push over, take over our Bulldog corner, take over the stairs, and keep this ball in a safer location.
bubu, although he gets that kill, in the meantime, the setup has been broken. He's kind of forced to run all the way around the map. He is going to take down Gilkey with that ball. It's 46 seconds what this setup has allotted, and it's a good chunk of time, but still, G2 Esports has proven that their setup is a little bit stronger. Dave, is that going to be the difference?
Yeah, I do agree with you. The setup is a little stronger. However, to replicate what G2 did at the beginning of the game is tough. Seeing someone like Gilkey go 7-0, having 3 people shut down for that long, I feel like 46 seconds is a respectable chunk of time to get themselves back in this game. Yeah, keeps them in it. By no means am I considering G1 fully out of this round. In fact, look at that. 4 down for a moment for G2, and they get a second setup here. And now, I mean, can they answer with another 30 or 40 points?
They sure as hell can if they can get these rockets. They're coming up here in 10 seconds. This round of Slays is going to be pivotal to this round 1 to keep G2 in this series. They got to win this round 1, I would have to say. And G2, they're able to get a kill on the bubu, on the PreDevoNatoR, and that's just in time as rockets are popping up.
And look at Swish realizing that he cannot give the ball to G2 over at this tower set now that his teammates are down. Instead, he's dropping that ball in the center of the map, making them grab it, making them grab rockets, being a huge distraction to the tower. So Sab did his part, or sorry, Swish did his part. But now we're gonna have to see if the rest of the follow-up comes from G1, but too many slays coming out G2. Even though objective efficacy is important in this game, if you have everyone dead in the other team, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you'd think The G2 are going to be able to end this round in their favor. They still have about an 18-point lead right now, but they're trying to rotate the ball, and it's right to the members of G1 over here on the Dynamo Stairs. 3 kills going in the favor of G1, 2 in the favor of G2, so it is going to be a 2v1 situation. And Swishes and bubu are going to be able to work together here to potentially make it all 4 dead on respawn for G2. And as they get the ball back to the cafe, their preferred setup in this situation once again is this where we see G1 take the lead.
Yep. A unfortunate rotation there from G2. Now, the one difference we're noticing here from G1 is when they have the ball over there on that perp side, they're controlling that bulldog corner first and foremost. Yeah. They realize how important that spot is. Whereas last time when G2 rotated over there, it got stopped. Like you said, they ran it right into 2 members there and gave the ball back. We have a tie game essentially, and the next round of kills here could determine it. There's many times where you can get kills, force them over at Tram, and they really don't have enough time to run all the way across the map. And that's why you see bubu not worried about scrapping up time in this moment. Kills are essential.
Yeah, G2's able to pick up 3 kills. Gilkey picks up 2 of his own. And although Barcode may statistically not be having the strongest game, all 4 dead for G1. And with 10 seconds to go, like you said, Dave, it's going to be so difficult for G1 to get across the map in time.
Yep, they have to fly as fast as possible. And look at that. You see Sab looking for any sort of bottom middle desperate pushes. In fact, they move into PD. Not the ideal setup for a long period of time, sometimes because you can't get shots across the map, but they realized they just had to put 2 more points on the board. Yeah. Go hide in there where you're not getting hit by as many random grenades.
100%. Remove sight lines, remove opportunity for yourself to go down. G2 managed to take round 1 off a very strong start from the Gilk Dud himself. 13 kills in round 1, and if you can keep it up at this pace, we could be seeing a very long series.
I love that from Gilk, taking that extra precision and time. Just take out that drop shield, shooting that bottom center of it where it spawns instead of having to shoot out different panels and creating an opportunity for his teammates. So even though he wasn't able to lay down shots over on perp side for his teammate, he's going to remove that shield and give his teammate an even fight.
A different start, however, in this round 2. G1 takes the early lead. They get rocket control. And PreDevoNatoR trying to do a little bit too much as he tries to rotate the ball back to his team respawning towards the tower. Does that. Has it done enough to keep G1 in this preferred setup? Rockets now in the hands of Sab could ruin any potential G1 has.
Oh, and that is rough, losing those rockets. I mean, there was a couple different ways to die there, whether it's shooting the spike grenades, whether it's getting hit by a frag. That stair is
tough spot.
Really tough spot to charge up. And it's a lot about timing. And sometimes it's really kind of lucky timing too, you know?
Yeah. It's literally awareness of the enemy team. Do they know you're coming? Do they expect you to come? And are those grenades coming in your face because it's so hard? In the meantime, G1 has gotten that ball into Tram. bubu on screen. He's got the Stalker rifle in hand. He's going to be watching that Stalker stairs. Denies the push from Barcode. Barcode's forced to back up. They're going to have to take down bubu, and that's exactly what they do.
Look at that game of cat and mouse. Just understanding Barcode and crew are not going to be able to charge up the stairs or the courtyard until they deal with that person over at rails. And bubu understand that as well. Now that his position was exposed, bubu went straight for the fight over at tires. He knew somebody was going to rush over, and bubu was hoping to get first shot with that Stalker rifle.
Sab having some phenomenal shots there. Knocks bubu to no shield as well. A little bit of damage on the Swish. Sab doing it all right now as they try to hold this Tram setup of their own. It was 23 points awarded to G1 when they had to set up. Can we see G2 match it this time around here in round 2? They did such a good job in round 1 of having the better starting strats or strategy as far as the first opportunity at a setup, and as these rockets have come up, it does look like G2 are going to have an advantage.
Yeah, slight advantage. bubu is behind enemy lines, but like you said, that first death there, not getting those rockets, going to see if it comes back to bite him, but behind enemy lines, bubu will survive once again, getting that Bulldog, holding on to this balcony, and even going to scrap up a little time. Feels a little comfortable to it. Can't tell if he's going for the play ball or what, but I like that play mostly from bubu, but unfortunately in the end, as he gets taken out by the rockets, that should have been in his team's hands.
Yeah, I think he knew Barcode was coming with rocks, so he tried to get the play ball. Barcode's going to have 3 players from G1 pushing him from downhill. He's going to try and challenge them with the Bulldog. He gets one to no shield as well. He also throws the ball out of Tram, so Barcode doing everything he can in that situation, but it wasn't enough, and G1 bring that ball right back. If they can get a couple of kills here, they will be able to rack up some more significant time.
And we're in that tumultuous time once again, Clutch, where these slays are so important. Basically, the team that gets these slays over on Tram side is going to force the opposing team to spawn all the way across the map over at PD, essentially giving them 5 to 10 seconds of unrestricted or uncontested time.
But look at these spawns from G2. They spawn in Red Room, such an advanced location. And I think it's because Barcode stays alive there, and and doesn't receive damage.
Yeah, never cleared out all the kills.
And because of that, look at this. All 4 dead for G1. What a patient play that has paid off for G2. They get advanced spawns on the map because they have teammates present on that side. The buddy spawns come through, and with that, G2 break the setup immediately and look to take the lead.
Great play by staying alive there, and that's the trouble of not clearing out all the kills over near that neutral ball position.
All right, how long can G2 hold this? They have the lead here in round 2, looking to push this series to a game 4. Barcode under heavy fire from uphill. A beautiful use of the disruptor to take down Squallaye. And that opening pick relieves a lot of the pressure that we would have seen from G1. It's a 2v2 situation, make it a 2v1. As Swish 5 is going to be the last player alive. He's going to actually kill, he's going to have that ball in hand, but I'd rather take the rockets in this situation, and Barcode puts those rockets to use.
And nice heads-up play again here from Gilkey, seeing teammates spawn over in PD, and says 2 things. 1, I should bring the ball over to my teammates, and 2, that probably means some enemies are nearby me, so I should get out of tram.
Yeah, absolutely. Great rotation, killing spree for Barcode, starting to heat up. Wasn't the strongest round 1, but look at this in round 2. 18 kills. He's totaled his kills up to, and a phenomenal round 2 from Barcode has kept G2 in this and actually given them the 30-point lead.
This is going to be a little dangerous right here. You see Barcode trying to defend over towards B side. Must have just relied a bit much on straight sick over on the balcony, trying to stop anyone coming from C. Generally, when you're in a ball rotation scenario, you should be focused on which way the ball is heading. Instead of slaying from behind the ball, you need to clear a path for the ball to head to.
Yeah, such a significant lead here for G2. Pressure from downhill. Barcode's gonna have pressure in the commando hall, landing some phenomenal stalker rifle shots. Gets a double. 3 dead for G1, and you have to think this is the beginning of the end of game 3.
Barcode feeling himself. That was such a great grenade dodge and finishing off that shot. Unfortunately, gets picked off from a grenade by Swish, which, I mean, we gotta start giving credit where it's due at some point. Swish, hearing callouts where they're one shots and putting the grenades where they need to be. That's really tough to do without directly seeing where that player's at and doing that heads-up play, especially with all the communication and information coming through the comms.
Good awareness by G1, but unfortunately just not a lot of success here on Streets Oddball. It's a 50-point lead for G2 Esports. They have round 1 secured as well, so they have guaranteed themselves at least a round 3 and a significant opportunity to push this series to a game 4. Rockets are coming up in 5, and Sab, he's going to slow play this situation, knowing that they built themselves such a lead. They have that comfort to do so.
Yep, he has straight sick, who's going to be the person that's going to grab the rockets. Sab behind enemy lines, going to do some damage, try to take some attention off, and allow his teammate to grab that. And look at this. Instead, looks like Tram is clear for a bit. Sab's going to put a few points on the board and force these members of G1 to desperately push over into Tram. They have no other option besides charging at Sab right now. 92 points.
Look at straight sick. He's just going to play his life. He doesn't really care if Sab goes down with this ball. More importantly, do not lose these rockets. Do not transfer them over. They are an absolute win condition for G1. And because he stays alive, he's bought time for Barcode to make his way. Gilkey gets a kill as well. Barcode finds 3. And that's going to do it. That's going to end this game. 5 points to go in G2. If you wondered if they'd go quietly in the night of game 3, was going to go into G1's favor. G2 step up. Barcode himself does it. And with 26 kills to his name, they push this to a game 4.
So many smart plays from Barcode that we saw there. I mean, generally when you bring on a new 4th member onto a roster, you're expecting them to step it up. You know, you're giving them that opportunity to gel with your roster, to shine. Yeah. And Barcode shown right there, 26, 18, and most assists with 13. 12.3 KDA there to lead this G2 roster to victory. But, you know, also at the same time, Gilkey, that start there to set the tone of game number 3, going 7-0, getting those rockets, just being in the right spot at the right time, staggering deaths, just putting them in such a difficult position.
Sometimes when you have a new guy on the team, just from past experience, Dave, somebody less experienced, you need somebody to step up and just get your team some momentum, right? When I teamed with like Cloud back in the day, I remember we had a series against Triggers Down. It was game 1 on soft flag, and Cloud is just absolutely destroying them. And it allowed me some time to feel comfortable. Barcode's starting to feel comfortable. 8,100 damage is absolutely insane, and Barcode leading the lobby with the most and the most damage to match.
Yeah, doing about a third more damage than any of the top players there from the G1 roster. And then also straight sick. Unsung hero throughout that game. We were talking about Barcode and Gilkey. Straight Sick had second most damage dealt and most damage taken.
So often to see such a quiet player, I guess, goes overlooked throughout his career, but so much talent, so much skill on his end. Just looking for the right roster. Is this G2 roster the one that brings Straight Sick back to a finals potentially? That's
Look at that run from Gilk. You just saw so many wise plays, so many staggered plays, waiting for someone to jump downstairs, hitting the spike grenade, just doing everything.
And this is what I'm talking about. Look at the stats right now. Barcode ends the round with 5 kills. Barcode ends round 1 with 5 kills.
So round 2, he just goes.
That's what I was saying.
20, yeah.
He finds his footing. You allow him some space to feel comfortable. Barcode's panicking a little bit going into a series down 2-0. You need to create some life. What does Gilk do? Gilk steps up, has the best round 1 he can have, a 7-0 start. And now you got Barcode starting to feel confident. And watch these kills as this highlight reel starts to add up, right? Started with 5 up to 18, gets up to 26, was it, by the end of it? Barcode takes over in round 2.
You know, you just got to wonder if it's a random small subset of stats that we're seeing, or if it's something that Barcode, when his team is doing well, he's just feeling more comfortable.
Absolutely.
There have been players like that in the passive history of Halo where it's, you know, if your team's stopping them, they put up these massive numbers and outslay so much in CTF, but then also when it's a very close game, they're not putting anywhere near that. When everything's on the line, that's not where they're shining.
And I mean, a lot of it probably has to do with, hey, he's young, he's a little bit inexperienced, he's still getting used to the rhythm.
With this team, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot going on here for this situation, but more importantly, G2, they get the job done. They stay in this series. They allow Barcode some more opportunity to not only get some practice, some opportunity to find his footing in this series, but G2's opportunity here in this tournament, in this winner's bracket. Because wouldn't a win here mean so much to them qualifying for pool play for Orlando? But more importantly, I think you know G1s and G2 are going to be in pool play at Orlando. You have to think, at least, if they potentially play against FaZe, that would just be unfortunate for either side to lose that in the elimination side. But either way, you advance in winner's bracket, and an opportunity at winner semis is a massive chance for both G1 and G2.
Guaranteeing yourself top 6 in this tournament is a massive leg up. I mean, both these teams clearly focused on the match at hand, but also both these teams, bright future ahead of them.
So much talent on both these teams, and so much untapped talent. I feel like when you talk about a new Halo comes out, and then in the first year, you're always looking at names that start to stick out, that start to reveal that, hey, they're going to be around for the next 3, 4, 5 years, right? These guys have careers ahead of them, and so many of them are just getting that career kicked off, whether it's Swish 5s, whether it's a Barcode, whether it's a Squallaye. I mean, he's been competing for a little bit, but he's just now finding his footing. Devon's back, and he's making some noise. A lot of talent in this series. I mean, all 8 players. It's not often we get to say all 8 players. Absolute gunnies.
And also from both org standpoints, I've been so impressed from just seeing, you know, the way they've been supported. I've been seeing G1 and their squad just posting how they're working out together. They're just posting content. They're doing everything so great. It feels like a cohesive team and unit.
And then also massages.
On the G2 side, I mean, someone like Ogre1 being a part of this org, helping bring in a young gun like Barcode. And, you know, I'm just excited to see what they're able to bring to that roster over the course of the rest of this year.
I mean, G2 is known for doing a lot of analytical work, a lot of theater work, a lot of like strategical stuff around their team. I mean, G1, like you said, everything that they're doing as an organization, just trying to innovate how players can improve themselves in, out of game, how can they improve lifestyle-wise. I mean, just so much compliments on both sides. It's such a shining light as a former pro to be able to see organizations stand these players up, give them opportunities, give them careers. It's something that I never had as a player, and I'm so envious of the opportunity that these guys get, but it's also like I'm so appreciative that finally esports is being taken as serious and to the level that it should be.
Absolutely. No, it's just great to see it get bigger and better and have so many great orgs here involved and supporting the rosters. Right now, G2 came out strong. Game number 3. We're going to a game 4. You got to say momentum's a bit in G2's favor, especially after a dominating performance there by Gilky and Barcode. But Bazaar, if anything there's to slow down momentum, it's a CTF Bazaar. You're in it for the long haul. I don't see either of these teams getting 5 caps on this, so they're going in for at least 12 minutes is what I expect.
We're going 12 minutes at the very least, Dave. I hate to break that to you. It's a matter of will we see a Game 5 Catalyst Slayer, and if we do, wow, what what a game type to pop its ugly head up in the end of a series. You know, neither one of these teams probably feel the most confident on that because of how much of a coin toss it appears to be at the highest competitive play. But you got to focus on game 4, an opportunity to shut the door and say absolutely not if you're G1, an opportunity to kick that door wide open and say we're going to a game 5 if you're G2. And talk to me about some of the focal points you're looking for G2 to climb back into the series with this game 4 with, Dave.
I mean, G2, they're just looking for any opportunity to just get back in this game. So the fact that they got a game 4, they know it's a must-win.
Yep.
They're going in here and saying, all right, let's take it little by little. We can't get down to a big deficit. We can't let them get 1 or 2 caps and then force us on the aggressive. Instead, take it slow. You know, G1 are a very aggressive roster. They're aggressive together as well. So you need to understand that if you're making a push and you're seeing somebody, you should expect multiple members of G1. So I think what I'm really breaking that down into is G2's communication has to be less of where is a single player at, how and where are we pushing together, stick to their game plan.
G1's not getting, if you see one player at G1, to your point, there's a damn good chance there's a couple more G1 players around the corner.
Yeah, you're going to see
They're not out of position for no reason, right? Like, they're very coordinated.
Yep, and in fact, you need to use your stab power up and just have him spawn out of your chest as a double to help you out in those 2v1s.
Yeah, absolutely. Phasing through each other has definitely benefited G2 a few times so far throughout this series. For me, there's not a lot of power weapons. The commandos, they do come into effect. You got the rockets to play around. We've seen some success from Barcode with the commando. Gilk Dudge, you know, he fries with that thing. But this is BR on BR action, and that's something that I think Straight Sick and Gilk are looking forward to as they get into this game 4, Dave. If those shots start to heat up, you can almost bet that we'll see a game 5, but the strategy that it takes to actually cap some of the flags is a difficult one, and something that I expect of G1 to have in place as far as efficiency in the objective column. We'll find out if G2 can answer that objective efficiency themselves, because I have no doubt that they'll have opportunities to get a flag run, but will they correctly read overextending stories? Will they correctly be able to get that flag to the middle of the map, slay again, and then punctuate that flag into their base in order to get those caps? Because so often do I feel like when you get the flag to the middle, does everything break down?
Yeah, there are so many times you have to take a couple different steps to get in that flag. Out of the base is step number 1. Out into the center, step number 2. Back to your base, step number 3.
It's a 3-step process, guys. You guys want it all done instantly. It's the way America works nowadays. Barcode, maybe you can teach these guys. There's a process for a reason. There's steps in place. Step 1s, step 2s, step 3s. We'll see if game 4 will lead us to a game 5. You can only hope that the reverse sweep that was done to G2 yesterday is in the back of their minds. They want some of that taste themselves.
The other thing I'm looking forward to seeing this round is a Spider-Man bubu dubu as he grabs that grapple and just skips all the steps, flies on over, and proves us wrong, Clutch.
He said F your steps.
All right, kicking it off here, though, with Barcode. Running into 2 players from G1 over in the tree. Now, G2 are actually in a decent position. They have height advantage in the spot. You see Swish actually, I believe, must have that thruster, not able to pick up that OS right away. But OS going to go in the hands of G1. G1 win the start because they killed all 4 members of G2 and had them on a slightly staggered spawn.
Bubu with rockets and Bulldog in his back pocket, opting not to have a battle rifle, so going to be forced to bring the bang here as he finds the first 4 dead again for G2. Step 1's done, Dave, and it's done very well. It's a dominant performance. Here's step 2, getting the flag to the middle of the map. Are they going to expect spawners in the corner or on the thrust spawn, as PreDevoNator's getting this flag so far without even being touched through the double doors? I don't know if anybody from G1's able or G2 is able to answer here.
Yeah, that's going to be a quick cap within the first minute for G1, off to a strong start. And look at Bubu just waiting down here in the alley, in the sewer, trying to see if anyone's coming around. Somehow Barcode slips on through. The reason Bubu was in that exact position, he had his back to the wall down there and realized that someone could potentially be on either side. So he decides just to have his back, wait for the footsteps, and then look in one direction.
Although it was bubu dubu that got the rockets and the Bulldog, it's Swish with 6 kills to his name that has allowed G1 to jump out to this early lead. That overshield, you know, we put it to use off screen. To be able to find 6 kills that quickly, that was massive. Now G2 looks to be aggressive into the base, but look at that. As they look to be aggressive, they're immediately removed, and G1 do a good job playing defense.
Yeah, they did a great job of defense. Because I was going to say, G2 were in great positions. That spot from Sab was so sneaky. Unless they heard some footsteps there, he was going to inflict some real damage and be able to put a flagpole on the board.
You can almost bet they either heard him or they felt that it was too quiet and they started to look around. Either way, Sab gets removed, and it's in perfect time as G1 tries to push to the middle of the map. PreDevoNatoR's trying to secure this overshield. He grabs it, but Sab does a good job to come off respawn, deny that, and in the meantime, Squallaye is going to be there to trade out some kills, activate that overshield, the second overshield of the game now in G1's favor.
Yeah, I mean, we were at North Market earlier today, Clutch, and I did not say overshields over in the fruit baskets there, so they must know a different couple shops here when they go over here on Bazaar.
Sab trying to defend his base, but he's got a lot of pressure to deal with here. It's going to have a little bit of help from respawners, but this overshield doing its money's worth in damage received. 4 down for G2 as the dynamo grenades were too much, and G1 with another flag on the move, and step 2 already being produced.
Yep, and there they go through the center of the map. They have those dinos. Here's going to be a slight pause. Things feel too good to be true. Just like that, DevoNatoR realizing players coming from the alley, throwing those dynamo grenades, doing such a good job, essentially separating all the members of G2. Now it's going to be charged in by groups of 2, and there goes Barcode, there goes Gilkey, there goes Straight Sick, and there goes another cap here for G1, off to a strong lead.
Let me tell you what was perfectly done by G1. They expected the overextenders, but more importantly, everyone goes back with the flag. It's textbook Halo. You always go back with your flag, and because of that, they take that 2-0 lead. They don't even risk a counter cap opportunity. And now, on a map like Bazaar CTF, Dave, no matter how much time is left, sometimes you don't even see 2 caps.
No, and this is already less than 4 minutes on the board. The other thing that's also been very impressive here from this G1 roster is they have just been grabbing everything. They've been grabbing the spike grenades. They grabbed those dynamo grenades back to back right after they spawned. You saw DevoNatoR get them. You saw bubu go and grab them. And it's an advantage in 2 ways. One, obviously you get to use that weapon to your advantage, potentially do some damage with it. Secondly, you're just taking away all these options that G2 have to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Generally, if a team is down by a significant margin, they need some sort of power-up, some sort of power weapon to get something going.
Yeah.
And if you can just remove any of those tools off the map, you get to remove it and be in a more neutral fight. You can say, all right, try to do this with the BRs. You're probably not going to clear us all 4 with just BRs. And there's 3 down again for G2. Bubu Dubu on the charge, getting this pull, and they're not content with just 2 caps.
Before bubu picked up this overshield, he got a double with the dynamo grenades, Dave. Now he's able to use that double to create some space, pick up the overshield. Now he's got another flag on the move. He's thrown that flag bottom middle, catches Gilkey, sleeping top BR, and this is a perfect opportunity for G1 to take a 3-0 lead.
And there's that pause during step 2 like we've been talking about, Clutch. PreDevoNatoR did it before to stop at alley. This time, Bubu did it, just toss it down towards alley and getting a slay on Gilk. Sometimes all you just need is that 1 or 2 unanswered kills and your flag's getting safely back.
Absolutely.
I said that there wouldn't be 5 caps on this map, and G1 might be proving me wrong this game.
Would love to be proved wrong. I know my lunch has been ready for a long time, but I did want to see a game 5. Unfortunately, G1 have no ambition to go to a game 5. They're taking a commanding 3-0 lead here in game 4, and they look to pounce once again. Look at the push. 2 members go down for G2, 3 members up for G1 as they assault the base, and they've already got the flag on the move.
Look at this team. They are such a menace on this map, and they're absolutely shutting down some top players on G2. Gilkey only has 2 kills so far this game, and Bazaar's one of those maps that you can just start to get isolated. You know, you start to run through alley and you fight a 1-on-1, 1-on-2, or you fight someone that's already hit you with a dynamo grenade. Look at this clinic that Squallaye and G1 are putting on for us, because this is quite a show.
There's 6 minutes left, Dave, and this one, it's over. Let me tell you, 4 caps on Bazaar ain't happening right now. You can almost bet that G1 are going to find a way to find that 5th cap, but even if they don't, they can play Team Slayer for the rest of the game, and they'll be just fine. Rockets and Overshield are coming up here in a couple of seconds, and Squallaye, if he can find a couple kills, once he does just that, almost guarantees that they're going to be able to acquire this power as well.
And there's Barcode trying desperately to get his hands on the Overshield, but the damage has already been done. He is 1 shot. Swish is going to grab that OS. Bubu is going to grab those rockets, and good luck to G2 to try and break out this one. Essentially, this is either going to turn into a lot of kills for G1 and potentially a 5th flag cap, or they're just going to trade kill for kill and delay the time. So right now, G2 are in no position to take over the center of the map.
Yeah, coming off respawn. Flag on the move again. PreDev gonna run it right at this guy. He's gonna take him down, and now all of a sudden with the flag on the move, you got a numbers advantage. Can you stay alive? Unfortunately, DevoNatoR by himself didn't expect the player to get there that quickly. Straight Sick does a good job to clear out his bar. He's going to get the return. So the first defensive stand we've seen, 3 were dead for G1. I believe the entire map gets reset. But if you're G2, that's just not enough, right?
Yeah, not enough, but we're going to have to see if this is the opportunity for them to get map control for once. Because right now, all the other times when we've seen bubu dubu down in the sewers, it's been when his team's had control, and he's worried about stragglers. Sewers is not one of the first spots you want.
No.
That is one of like the last flank spots that you want later on for your team setup. And so right here, we're getting to see the power of, that is not good. We're going to see the power of a G2 setup and see if they can actually acquire some extra kills, see if they can put a flag on the map, and give themselves a little bit of hope to get back into this. It's not looking good.
Oh my. Almost snaps a thumb there as Sab able to help Barcode out here. The flag gets pulled. It's the first one for G2 as they try to get it to mid-map. If you're going to do it, it's going to have to be a flag per minute now. 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Nearly, I'm not even going to entertain perfect Halo here, Dave. 3 go down for G2. As Straight Sick does pick up a kill, his flag gets pulled, and when the return's going to come through, so will the potential 5th and final cap for G1.
Such greed there from the G1 side, and it's working out beautifully. Bubu was behind enemy lines, laying down shots. They secure all those kills. They stopped them at step 2 of the process, and G1 are running this 5th and final flag in.
I don't know the last time we saw 5 caps, but that's going to do it here. Somehow, someway, G1 looked dominant in Game 4. Deny any hope of a Game 5 for the fans out there, but make a statement seeing that they are a dominant Bazaar CTF game. They win the G Derby and an impressive punctuation on the series. G1 show you exactly what they're capable of when they're playing at a high level.
They are winning this series overall throughout these 2 teams matching up, and that Game 4 was a dominating performance. Although, first 2 games, incredibly close. Great back and forth series, but G1 clearly the better team here today.
As we take a look at the stats, Swish 5s does his thing early on in the game, but it's everyone on G1 that steps up. Everyone has 15, 16, or 17 kills, and when your entire team is able to slay like that, I mean, that's the kind of success you expect, right? 5-0, like you pointed out. Maybe some stragglers on the side of G2 throughout the start of the game. They started to get kills towards the end, but it was too late.
Yeah, it's just an outslaying clinic. I mean, 40 kills for G2, and then when I quick add up the side of G1, we had what, 63.
Wow.
So 63
the
for
human
G1
calculator.
And 40 for G2. So
How
outslaying by
do that?
more
No wonder you had
more
so
than
much
50%.
more success than me.
And then let's take a quick look at the damage. I think this will also be not much of a surprise.
Don't start adding up the damage,
we got 12, 13, 17,000. No, just kidding.
Boy wonder.
But yeah, look at the damage. Actually, it is a bit surprising seeing how much damage we still saw from the G2 roster, but it's damage that doesn't convert into kills. It's those times that they're pushing up alleys, the times that they're trying to push inside of the map and getting people to one shot. They're just getting away and staying alive.
Well, the issue here is when you look at the damage, it's not telling you how the damage was dealt. And a majority of the damage dealt from G1, rockets, dynamo grenades, brute grenades, the battle rifle, of course, commander rifles, but I feel like everything was denied from G2. All of this damage from G2 is BR damage, right? Frag damage potentially, but a majority of it, you know, wasn't rockets. You know, it wasn't those crucial high DPS grenades that are the brute grenades, that are the dynamo grenades. And G1, textbook Bazaar CTF. If anybody wants to learn how to play Bazaar CTF and the 3 steps that we discussed going into the game, G1 knows exactly how to perform that kind of a strategy. They looked perfect in that game, and I would write down some of the stuff that they were doing. They were rotating, expecting the overextender so flawlessly that we saw 5 caps, and I don't remember the last time I saw 5 caps.
I'm trying to recall too, out of other caps, did they get 5 out of 6 attempts? I think that may have been at just that one that DevoNate ran.
When they failed.
Yeah, they had the one that PreDevoNate ran to BR that I believe got stopped from G2.
Yeah,
but besides that, I'm pretty sure there were 5 out of 6 attempts on Bazaar, which is unreal.
Okay.